All right, welcome back to ACL Melbourne. Big thanks to our sponsors, B&Q and Plantronics. My name, of course, is Slappy Max Baggins, or just you can call me Max for this one, Dale. And this, of course, is Dale. Dale, do you want to introduce yourself at all? Got anything to say?
Dale never fails, as some people like to call me here.
Hot Soggy Noodles.
Hot Soggy Noodles is also another name, but we're going to call me Dale for here for today. So we are loading in. So we got the champion select here with the spectator delay, and we have Fray Umart versus Avant Redemption here at the group stages for the ACL Melbourne.
Absolutely, and this is, of course, Avant Garde Redemption's second game. So they had a dominating performance towards the end game against Tenacious Gaming in our first matchup, and we'll just see whether they can handle that again. We do have Fabulous again on that Lux, which is so dangerous. His final sparks to the last game were amazing.
Oh, yeah, there was some funny plays with the binding straight into the insta-burst. People would just disappear every time they chased him.
Absolutely.
So he's a little bit dangerous there, but this is definitely a harder matchup. Avant Redemption and Fray Umart are both stated teams, both have their status, both have their titles, experience and all to come with, especially, obviously, their sponsors. So they're named teams, to put it easy enough. So this is going to be a tough match. This isn't going to be easy like the other ones. Not to badmouth the other guys a little bit, but they don't have the status that these guys have.
Well, that's absolutely right. And Fray Umart have been on the scene for a long, long time. Absolutely. But, you know, that being said, I mean, the picks so far, we haven't actually got that on stream as of yet, but are looking really strong for the late game on both sides. I do favor Avant Garde Redemption at the moment, though.
Yeah, most definitely. Those guys definitely have the late game here, so they have... So we'll list down the teams just for the guys down here. So on Fray Umart, we have JKS, top lane, who's going to play Shen with the Nautilus pick for the jungle. Then we have Xerath for the mid lane, and then Ezreal, Sona for their bottom lane.
Yeah, absolutely. And over on Avant Garde Redemption side, we do have the Zac in the top lane, a dominating champion, really hard to move, especially against that Shen. And of course, a Nocturne in the jungle. As you can see now on the screen, Lux in the mid lane, and we've got that Nami Vayne bot lane, which is really showing to be a really powerful bot lane, even though Vayne has that notably difficult early game. Yeah,
those two champions are definitely picked lately. They're kind of in style right now. However, Ezreal Sona is the known bottom lane that everyone's been picking for ages. They've always been relevant. They've got the huge burst potential, the huge pick potential. Nice amount of CC, nice amount of burst right from the get-go. Level 1, they all have these potentials.
Yeah, absolutely.
However, the Vayne Nami, of course, the reason why that's a little bit in style, because when they get those levels, they get those items, because of course the game's going a little bit quicker. They're getting items, they're getting levels a lot quicker than everyone else now in this current metagame. So Vayne, obviously, everyone knows. She's the hype carry of the game. I don't think anyone gets much stronger than Vayne.
Yeah,
gets items, gets levels,
right.
gets really strong. Nami, of course, helps her with the snowball potential, gives her the movement speed, gives her the slow off the auto attacks. Can't run away from her.
And that bubble is incredible CC there in the bot lane. You get that in like a bot brush into a condemn, and they are just locked up forever, and they're not going to move, especially with the burst potential out of Vayne.
Yeah,
so
dangerous
I'm a little bit scared for that bot lane of Umart.
We'll have to see. Well, of course, Ezreal and Sona, they have their own mobility. They're quite quick champions. Sona's not the quickest in the world, but Ezreal's definitely quick. Everyone knows Ezreal's so hard to get to. So I'm looking forward to some aggressive plays, some aqua prisons and whatnot being thrown around.
Another thing that I'd like to note as well is the Xerath Lux matchup in the mid lane. Such long-range champions. They're going to be like a screen away from each other and still unable to and able to fight in a general sense just from that amount of range. So that's going to be really exciting. No kill potential coming out of Xerath, though. Really going for that defensive barrier pick. So really, really interesting. And, of course, into this game now. On the blue side, we do have, of course, Fray Umart. And on the red side, Avant Garde Redemption. Pretty general starts here, Dale. Nothing really notable. You know, exactly the same in the top lane. You know, of course, that Doran's Blade start for those AD carries. And in the mid lane, we've got a Doran's versus a Flask. So Xerath a little bit scared about the early poke damage coming out of Lux.
Yeah, looking over, however, Nami does have a mana potion over Sona, opting for a couple of HP potions.
Yeah, so Nami also with that full build, as you like to say.
Full build, yep, she's already done, guys. Yep. No more farming needed, no more leveling. Oh, here we got Avant Redemption gripping in the bush there as Nami goes to place a security ward around that blue buff.
Oh, the ward does go in and doesn't get destroyed as well. They do have a lot of people with a lot of auto attacks to possibly go there, but Little Uber Giant is going to back and come back to lane with full health. That was very, very dangerous, but it seems like Redemption were just a little bit unsettled about going for the full engage in case the whole team was there.
Yeah, perhaps Avant Redemption might opt to put a ward over that wall next to the Baron Pit next time to see if they can get a little bit more pick potential, because of course that bush is highly contested. That vision is very, very strong. Leads in from the Wraith into the red path, and it also will spot mid ganks, which of course mid is a very volatile lane at the beginning. Most champions have a lot of utility, a lot of CC to help out those ganks. And look at over here, we do have both Frenetic Array and Avant Redemption mirroring their jungle paths.
Yeah, so they're possibly going to meet in the top lane for a gank level 3, I would assume, you know, coming out of the jungles on both sides, and we'll have to look to see which one comes through, whether we're going to have the counter gank that we need on both sides. That being said, you know, Zac and Shen, both incredibly mobile champions, really hard to gank and really beefy at the same time, so you can't really see that being a massively successful gank potential really early on in the game, but we'll have to see what goes on.
Yeah, interesting enough that we noted that the bottom lane was probably going to be the more active lane out of all three. Not looking to gank that early on. Perhaps we might see some play around there level 6. However, the top lane is definitely Snowball Central. Both teams being very, very tanky. Shen obviously looking for some map control. However, blasted there on Zac. I don't expect him to let Shen just port away for free.
Yeah, and one thing to note as well is Uber Giant's Pro and Little Uber Giant have been queuing together forever. They are so good in that duo position, and their communication and synergy is really notable. Especially, you know, even over in the NA side, like they were high diamond players, and you'd see it, like you'd watch it on a stream of a American player, and they'd say, "Oh, they've got 200 ping, they're definitely going to lose," and then they trash their lane anyway. So it's going to be really exciting to see in a lane that we seem to think may have a disadvantage at this point.
Yeah, the Uber Giants, of course. The brothers in arms, very dangerous
absolutely.
lane. Got the synergy. We do have a pause, but looking over there near the top river.
Yeah, we do have what we were going to say, that level 3 gank coming out from both junglers. And it looks like Nocturne's going to get there a little bit earlier. Has been spotted by a ward. You can't really see on the map at this point, but I'm pretty sure that's a blue side ward. So Nautilus coming up for the counter gank, and we'll just have to see whether Shen Nautilus has got enough to take out potentially Nocturne or Zac. I think they'd probably focus the Nocturne.
I'm definitely favouring Zac and Nocturne in this matchup because, of course, all 4 of those champions are very tanky at the beginning of the game.
Very true.
Nocturne, the least tanky of the bunch, but still able to absorb a single ability to give them that attack speed. Zac and Nocturne are definitely going to have the sustained damage bonus in that trade there. Shen and Nautilus, not the greatest in sustained damage. They've got a little bit to their
That's true.
to themselves, but there's definitely more level required there.
Yeah,
But Zac and Nocturne have definitely already got those abilities. Level 2 or 3, they've already got ridiculous damage. Nocturne is actually someone you never want to duel.
Yeah, absolutely. Unless you're a Lee Sin or something that's ridiculously strong in the early levels. So that is very true. I mean, if Nautilus keeps his shield up, that's a lot of extra damage in that dot provided by the shield, but they'd be able to break that pretty quickly, especially with Nocturne's Umbra Blades and stuff like that doing extra damage.
Well, I mean, who's going to focus a Shen in a fight? Even at the beginning of the game,
that is very true.
I expect
Nautilus
to
could come in and it'd be pretty... you know, depending on whether he gets that taunt in right, but I mean, we're just arming and ahhing at this point.
Yeah, most definitely. It is going to come down to how these teams approach it. There might not even be a fight.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right.
But we will note that, of course, those junglers are definitely about to meet up there in top lane after they do have they both have collected their buffs. And, of course, let's look over this. Even though it's the beginning of the game, no one really has any creeps. The creep score is pretty even.
It is pretty even. Apart from that mid lane, of course, you know, Xerath with double the creeps.
Oh, double the
Fabulous
creeps.
at this point.
8 to 4 on
I have
Lord
a feeling
Fabulous.
it might have been due to the fact that Fabulous just disconnected from the game.
Yes.
So maybe he wasn't entirely involved, unless he's got that loosened singularity about to pick up 4 creeps as we zone back.
we'll have to see. We'll have to see. However, let's think what's going to happen. Because, of course, this top gank might happen. It might happen.
Yep.
Let's think about what's going to happen next. I predict that mid lane will be the next pick, of course.
Yeah, although, you know, they're both such long-range champions, as we said, and with a lot of, like, you know, Xerath has got that speed boost coming out of his W, and, of course, Lux has the shield. I mean, it's a difficult lane to gank because they play so far back. So we'll just have to see whether anything exciting can come in. I could imagine Nocturne would be able to gank that Xerath once he hits that level 6, that Paranoia being so useful for closing the distance on a champion such as Xerath. But, I mean, it's hard to say at this point, but I could imagine it would be a contentious place, especially with Nautilus possibly coming in for that gank onto the Lux, with the Dredge line being such a powerful gap-closing tool.
Yeah, I predict Nocturne's going to travel back into his jungle and try and get that 6 as quickly as possible.
Absolutely.
Sorry, because Nocturne's definitely not a champion that you want to do too much on before 6. His 6 is his power spike, that massive jump. The paranoia comes out and everything gets really scary. So the poise is coming out, and now let's see what happens up here in the top lane.
Finally back into this game. And hopefully directed camera gets us up there, otherwise you could probably help us out. That being said, some action in the bot lane. Condemned landing. Little Uber Giant taking so much damage, has to flash away. The exhaust comes in, flash out of specs, but doesn't actually get the auto attack down. That being said, they still do win that trade. And like we said, BMA coming in and getting some damage onto Fabulous. Doesn't die, but he has taken a lot of damage. The Q landing from Dizzy, and he's just like unrelenting with the pain there.
We got some trade coming out from the Nami. This lane is very dangerous now. We got Sona's exhaust and flash popped. I'd be very careful about that. Bush control isn't going to help you anymore, mate.
Yeah, that is very true. That being said, the sustain out of Sona definitely outweighs that. And even though we do have a gank here in the mid lane, Aviator taking some pain from Dizzy and BMA. The light binding comes in, does miss. Loosen Singularity doing nothing. The shield managing to hit onto Aviator, but the flash comes in for the passive onto Aviator. Is he going to go for the flash through the wall after he gets down to really low? No, he can't do that, and that's going to be first blood for Nautilus. Fantastically well played. Light binding lands on both, so Fabulous manages to get out of that, but little Uber Giant getting taken down so low in the bot lane. Teal's managing to pick up that kill. Uber Giant's bro trying to get some damage onto Sphex, but he just moves behind those minions so he can't get hit by the Mystic Shot, and that was just really well played in the bot lane. Like we said, you know, Avant Garde Redemption's bot lane power there is really, really strong here in the early game.
Yeah, Aqua Prisons are so wrong when they get hit right in that perfect spot, especially with the Condemned to back it up. Absolutely. So much single target lockdown, and unfortunately Sona just doesn't have it in her. So Sona is very strong at level 1, don't get us wrong.
We're going really, really aggressive here.
Yeah,
Ebb and Flow just like doing a bunch of damage to him, and he's gonna have to be a little bit careful. I mean, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a lack of respect, thinking that he can just do whatever the hell he wants, but that was very dangerous to me.
Yeah, it was skirting it a little bit, living life on the edge, but
yeah, damn right.
You got to do what you got to do, especially to make sure he's around for those next creeps. So Vayne, unfortunately, did get the assist, didn't get the kill.
Yep.
However, tit for tat, Nami did get a Philostone instead. Has the gold income immediately, which is definitely going to help out.
And Vayne, you know, coming back to lane with that double Doran's Blade, really wanting to snowball this lane hard, and was even on CS when she left lane as well, which is a dangerous place if you're against a Vayne that's even on CS with your bot lane, because that only gets worse the longer the game goes.
Exactly, and we will have to see if Uber Giant's Bro does opt for a full blue build with an early cooldown reduction or perhaps a Bloodthirster build. I do think he does flavor those Bloodthirster builds, which will give him a little bit more of an early to mid-game spike, which probably help with the bottom lane, since it is staring a little bit to the Avant Redemption side, especially since that first blood, obviously.
Yeah, true.
But maybe we'll see it sway back a little bit once that BT comes out.
That's true. Or is he going to go for that Blade of the Ruined King build that a lot of people are favoring now, especially in Korea and Europe? There has been a lot of players that have been opting for that Blade of the Ruined King.
I'm a big fan of Blade of the Ruined King first, of course, on most champions bottom lane.
Oh, in any lane, Dale, it's a very fun item to do.
It's a very fun item indeed, especially with the active. Makes it very cost efficient if you use it as much as possible. But again, the top lane and the solo lanes in general, actually, I'm kind of seeing that they might get a little bit stale with that new jungle pressure at this moment.
That's true. They're so even. Apart from Xerath with a little bit of a lead due to the fact that, of course, Lux had to go back. And Xerath got that kill, so he's feeling a little bit more dangerous here in the mid lane. Yeah,
so I don't expect to see too much out of the mid lane without the jungler coming through unless some big mistake is made, especially the top lane. Top lane I expect to be very stale for a very long time.
Oh, yeah.
Two big guys up there.
No one cares about a Shannon Zac matchup.
No, definitely not. We do have Nautilus coming down lane down bottom. Let's see what he can get out of this one.
Yeah, is he going to be able to sneak into that brush? He hasn't been spotted, I'm pretty sure. Oh, Dredgeline just missing onto Nami there, and BMA is going to walk away with his head between his hands. Yeah, that was so incredibly close.
Very, very close. Again, living life on the edge. Both these guys down bottom, that just shows how tenuous that lane really is down there. One simple misstep will land a kill.
And he's coming back down, and he's been spotted. They're not going to make anything happen here. One thing to note as well is Fabulous does have his teleport up. Uber Giant's Bro going down really low. That trade not being won there by the bot lane of Fray Umart. And Fabulous getting hit by the dredge line. The stun comes out, and the ultimate combo from Dizzy. Massive amounts of damage coming out of that Xerath, and that was a ridiculously easy kill there for Umart.
Yeah, the CC train just rolled straight on through after that hook landed. Unfortunately, didn't have the ability to get out of that one. Didn't really have much of an opportunity to do anything. Yeah. Had his flash up, but still couldn't use it. The CC train just rolled on through, I guess you could say.
Nautilus and Xerath is a horrible combo to have to deal with, especially with that stun being so easy to land once you've got your ult there on Xerath. You just pop that E and then put the ultimate down, and it's just really, really difficult. Double missing here in the bot lane. Teal's taking a little bit of damage for that particular mishap.
Yep, so that level 6 is almost coming down through when the lane's going to get even more dangerous.
Yeah,
both teams going to have so much burst available to them, so much CC, more CC as well available to them, especially Sona and Nami's level 6 offering damage, burst damage and crowd control. Quite long range as well, so both teams are going to have to watch their steps even more. This is going to be a lot of fun to watch.
That being said, Ubergiants Bro has got the health advantage on Specs now that that level 6 mark has been hit, but it's going to be very, very interesting seeing that crescendo come down, the possible final hour, and the tidal wave, of course, being fantastic CC, unmitigatable being that knock-up as well.
However, we do have to note that Shen does have his stand united now.
That's true, and of course we've got teleport coming out of Lux as well, so it's a little bit of both. We could have a 3-on-3 situation there in the bot lane, assuming no jungle pressure. That being said, Aviator is now 6 as well, so that paranoia also available.
Well, look at this. Nautilus is around that bottom lane. Perhaps he might look for a play after his red.
Yeah, that is very true. And he's probably thinking that Aviator is probably around that 6 mark, considering... Oh, the tidal wave coming out, not hitting either Ubergiants Bro or Little Ubergiant. Specs getting exhausted, and Stand United coming down onto Ubergiants Bro. Doesn't manage to get the Arcane Shift to come in so that they can get the easy taunt, but looking like Avant Garde Redemption are just going to move on out of this. And it's a 4v2 here in the bot lane.
Yeah, perhaps they might opt to go initiation. Oh, we got some huge
final
burst
spark coming down onto Dizzy, and then the paranoia in on top of that. Is he going to get the fear off? Fear does come out, and Aviator picks up an easy kill there. Fabulous turning around what looked like it was an engage coming out of Dizzy there in the mid lane. So really, really well played, and definitely what Fabulous needed in that lane, even though Aviator did get the kill.
Did you see that, though? Both mid laners didn't want to touch each other at all. The burst potential was so high.
Oh, yeah.
So unfortunately, Nocturne had to come through there and sweep that one up to finish the job. However, Ubergiants Bro is risking it all right here down here. Nocturne is coming through down bottom. Doesn't quite land it. A little bit too mobile to stop that one there. However, maybe they look for a dragon.
Yeah, that's true. They do. Is that a pink ward there on Dragon from our Fnatic Umart? Yes, it is. So Aviator in full vision at the moment. Doesn't have that paranoia available, and of course the cooldown on that is huge at these early stages of the game. So he's not really going to be making any paranoid moves anytime soon.
Yeah, I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely tons of damage.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, we got some more trades down there, bottom lane.
Oh, Teal's taking some damage, but Ubergiants Bro doesn't realize, I think, that little Ubergiant wasn't quite there, getting a little bit hyphy there in a 2v1 situation. That being said, manages to get out just fine, and with the extra sustain from little Ubergiant, he's going to be A-okay in that lane. And that being said, Ezreal Sona are managing to pull this one back.
Yeah, some great game sense over here. So Nautilus was not spotted through any wards at all, but the Uber Bros are definitely on top of it.
And a dragon coming out for Umart.
This is very, very risky, though. Lux has final
tidal wave
up.
hitting 3 people, and BMA taking a ton of damage. Oh, wow, sniped. Little Ubergiant just taken out by that final spark there, and losing Singularity, having to pop that shield. And Aviator's just going to come in and pick this up. That was fantastic counterplay. And, of course, Ezreal going down there as well. Ubergiant's probably getting pinned down by Specs. I don't quite know what happened there, but I think he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, unable to get out. And I mean, that was a ballsy move going for that dragon. They did know that they had the vision control, but wow. And Dizzy getting paranoia down, gets the ult combo not quite off because of that fear hitting in, and pops that W for the extra range there, and picks up the raid.
Little style points. Definitely
Absolutely.
style points there. Now, unfortunately, the Stand United was not up to help Fnatic Array when they went for that dragon, but that was just great game sense from Avant Redemption.
Absolutely amazing. And that final spark just picking up Ubergiant, little Ubergiant just so easily in there. It's like binding hit, just super easy, just put that straight over the top. And the burst potential of Lux, once she hits that level 6, it's just so much damage.
Yeah, well, they need to be careful because Avant Redemption are very good at showing up out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's very, very true. Of course, and that teleport still up for Fabi.
Definitely. I don't think we'll see it just yet, since a lot of the ultimates are on cooldown. But once they pop back through, maybe we'll see a teleport.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's just sitting there, waiting in the wings, He's just saying, look, I could be anywhere.
That actually puts a lot of fear down, especially since the Stand United is around.
Yeah, it's like the old TF fear, you just know that gate combo is there, so you just can't overextend. You can't go for those extra aggressive plays. So teleport is going to have a pseudo effect in the same sort of vein.
Yeah, pings come down, so they do know that bush is watered, so unfortunately Nocturne can't advance too far. However, Ubergiant is going up the river. This is getting very dangerous.
Yeah, And why directed cam keeps going up top when nothing's actually happening is a little bit annoying. And that dredge line actually hitting onto Teals this time. The tidal wave comes out and the dredge line onto Specs. Uber Giants Bro wanting to get the heck out of there. Now BMA gets Stand United on him, but is it going to be able to come through in time? I think it got cancelled actually. Possibly by Balasta there in the top lane with an elastic slingshot. Fantastically well played across the map there by Avant Garde Redemption, and they are so on point. And as we said, you know, Umart, an incredibly seasoned team, but Avant Garde Redemption just playing ridiculously well.
Yeah, very, very smart save there by Balasta.
Light Binding comes in on a little Uber Giant, the crescendo, max range, but not going to be able to make it this time. Svex picking up this, and the final spark being saved there for the star points onto Ezreal. Fantastically well played, and they're going to pick up the first tower of the game as well.
Yeah, some more smart play. Again, Balasta stopping that Stand United, which was crucial to allowing some further kills and some further pushing. I don't think Aviator was going to be saved. Sorry, BMA. BMA was going to be saved anytime soon.
Deep.
Definitely dead for that. I don't think the Stand United would have saved him from there. But some great tower control, trading aggro at the perfect moment so that Avant Redemption weren't in any terror at all, especially with that
they're just moving around the map so incredibly well, Avant Garde. They know exactly where they need to be. And as we were talking about that, that teleport came in for Fabulous, and he managed to pick up, what was it, 1 kill out of that? 2 kills? 1 kill. But certainly helping out with the kill on Sonar as well. So just really, really well played by Avant Garde Redemption.
Yeah.
And that's pushed it out, of course, to a 3k gold lead.
Yeah, fortunately, Dizzy was able to take that mid turret in retaliation since Avant Redemption took that bottom tower, secured that one through to help the gold lead, close it a little bit up, but still, these guys are 5 kills up and a dragon.
Yeah, and of course the mid lane, as I was saying before, about you know, getting that mid turret for that map vision and map control advantage, but I would still say that trade in the bot lane easily made up for it.
Yeah, most definitely. Balasta is keeping the pressure on though. This is exactly what you need to do to those guys who ever have to verse the top lane Shen. You keep that shoved in, you keep the pressure on. You do not allow Shen to port freely.
Oh, BMA looking for some more action in the bot lane. Uber Giant managing to arcane shift out of the active prison, which was fantastically well done due to the fact that that would have been a really, really big problem. Of course, Tidal Wave is up there for Nami, so the disengage option is, of course, there. One thing I'd like to note as well is Balasta's picked up a Spirit Visage. A lot of people don't understand that Shen, you know, being that auto-attacking type champion, does a lot of magic damage.
Yeah, most definitely. I really like the new Spectral Cow item that they recently put in that goes into Spirit Visage well. For the guys that don't know how that works, when you take damage from an enemy champion, it will give you a little bit of a heal. And of course, Shen's playstyle is to throw daggers. Throw daggers at you for days. Just over and over and over and over again, especially with that energy. You just won't run out of daggers. But Spectral Cow will just allow you to heal that back through. It's really, really impressively smart to buy that item.
Yeah, and with Balasta's just general ability to regen his health, it's just a little bit gross, isn't it? It makes this top lane a little bit stale.
Yeah, it's going to get even more stale, especially once Shen gets his own items to back that up. He also has his own Spectral Cow there, so perhaps Mike going for another Spirit Visage as well.
Yeah, it looks like they're just mirroring each other. I would assume that the Sunfire Cape's going to come out for both champions after this. I want to go out on a limb here, Dale. I'm not going to, you know, definitely say, but I have a feeling that might be what happens.
Here we have Aviator scoping around the mid, deciding not, perhaps looking through the bottom after his wolves. But we saw BMA. He looked up top, started walking towards top, and like, yeah, no, we're going to go somewhere else.
Just can't be bothered doing this right now.
A lot more trouble than it's worth. Not too much going to go down there. It's all about this bottom lane, like we said before. Even the mids are kind of sitting a bit back, too afraid to do anything, because one misstep will definitely kill that. So better safe than sorry. So again, it's all about this bottom lane. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, and Fabulous, of course, in that mid lane, picking up those couple of kills from those skirmishes, managing to come back ahead. I would say in gold, although we're still down 20 CS to that Xerath. But yeah, of course, his roaming just really fantastic. We've got a dragon attempt here coming out for Avant Garde. If that Stand United does manage to come in, we've got a potential 5v4 situation here. So a little bit ballsy play coming out of Avant Garde, but they understand that they're ahead at this point. Oh, wow. So the dragon is taken by Avant Garde. Bit of a valiant effort there from Dizzy to try and put down a whole bunch of damage there with his ultimate, using that extra range from his W, but not managed to get anything in. They're just going to go back and heal up, and Nocturne's going to hop back into his jungle.
Unfortunately, they just didn't have the vision control. Avant Redemption prepped that one up, had all the wards down. Look, the wards died as soon as the dragon died as well.
Yeah.
Funny stuff. Very, very well played. They knew exactly where they had to be at the exact right time, and unfortunately, Fnatic Ray Umart just weren't ready.
No, exactly the point. And it's getting really, really scary for Umart here, especially with the fact that, you know, that bottom lane was what we were saying was going to be the volatile lane, and it seems to be winning out for Avant Garde Redemption. Final hour is popped. Little Uber Giant gets the Stand United put on him. The crescendo comes down. Specs is in a really difficult position, but that Aqua Prison was fantastic onto JKS and Little Uber Giant. Whoa. Everyone's here in the bot lane. Dizzy just smashing down with that ultimate. In the end, it was, in fact, Ezreal picking up the kill. Little Uber Giant tanking up the turret like a bro, and they just didn't want that bot lane from Avant Garde Redemption to have any chance of survival. Managing to bring, what is that, 5 people into that bot lane to pick up that turret. They understand that they're behind, and they've got to make the big plays to really come back into this. And, of course, that's brought it back to a 2.5k gold lead. So really, really well played. Yeah,
a couple of kills to go along with that tower, unfortunately, though. Balasta did counter-take that tower from their top lane, but they knew that was going to happen. It was well worth their efforts. But Fnatic Ray Umart just kind of exploiting a hole in their ward, in Avant Redemption's ward coverage. Didn't have any wards leading from mid to bottom. Just ran around the back and pincered them.
Yeah, absolutely. And that ultimate coming out from BMA was huge as well, you know, locking down that Specs. And with such a mobile champion as Vayne, it's just so horrible having those targeted abilities that are definitely going to get you.
Yeah, very, very well played. The strategies pulling through for them for this stage. However, we do have an Oracles on Teals. This is crucial to regaining that map control.
Yeah, they really, really need that vision, and they realized just then. That being said, Dizzy picking up Teals. Even though the Aqua Prison does land, he gets so much damage down. Throws out the last ult in a pretty random position. The Condemn coming down, though, onto Little Uber Giant. Flashes through the wall. Dizzy's... Oh, wow, fabulous. Just the tip of that final spark just taking him down. That was incredibly well played. And who would have thought that he's a gold 3 player down?
Most definitely. We've got a couple of things going around here. We've got a dive looking through on the mid lane, and Blaster looking to flank from behind. These guys need to be careful.
Is that elastic slingshot going to come in? They are backing off here. Uber Giant's bro is very, very low. They're just going to make sure that they secure that turret, and Blaster slingshotting in, not really doing all that much. Really.
Yeah, don't need to push that advantage any further. They got something out of it. Why waste it? Why give the opponent an opportunity to regain their senses? We do have the blue buff coming up there for Lux. This is going to make sieging even stronger. Perhaps we might start seeing Avant Redemption grouping up for closer and further objectives.
Yeah, absolutely. And they just know that they're winning these fights. Like, that final spark coming out from Fabulous, he is so on point with his Lux there. And that really needs to be banned out. Like, whoever's watching this really needs to take note and say, Fabulous, if he gets that Lux, he's going to be dangerous.
Yeah, most definitely. Unfortunately, the pick from Dizzy, the Xerath, isn't quite capable of exploiting Lux too much, because Lux is a champion that has very large amounts of difficulty dealing with someone who gets in her face, right up in her grill. Disrupts her as much as possible. Unfortunately, Xerath plays the same game as Lux does.
Yeah.
Sits back, sits from a range, high burst. So those guys were just able to kind of sit back, play off each other's game and farm it up, and that's not what they needed.
And it's going to be very hard for Xerath to sit in the backline with Balasta on that Zac. You know, that elastic slingshot just giving you so much gap close. And so, of course, they're just going to all pile in for this top turret, and that's going to be unanswered.
Yeah, most definitely. The turret did get low, however. BMA did come through, didn't quite land the hook, and unfortunately the Stand United was looking for the initiation, but the hook didn't quite land. So, bit of a waste, but saves the tower, so why not?
Yeah, that's very true. And the ultimate coming out of Nautilus doing absolutely nothing. Dizzy managing to land the combo into the stun, and the taunt landing as well. Last hit will shut down Fabi, and Fabi's going to be a little bit sad about that. He's like, why do you waste everything on me? I'm not that good.
There's a very smart play there, using the fog of war to their advantage.
And that just shows their pick potential as well, Dale. It's just pretty hard to deal with that long-range Xerath engage when you can't see him.
Yeah, to the guys who actually watched the OGN last night, this is very reminiscent of what those guys were doing down there. What they call pick comp. Lots of high-ranged, high-burst, and small amounts of mobility buffing around.
Oh, we can see Balasta here waiting for that slingshot opportunity into the team with the Let's Bounce, and not actually finding it at this point, and BMA will just scout him out and stop him from having that little bit of fun.
Yep, so Avant Redemption need to start putting some wards down around those corners when they go to siege towers. They need to know where Dizzy's hiding, because unfortunately, if he's able to do that every time, they're just going to have too much trouble sieging on their own.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think Avant Garde have realized, you know, based on that last fight and how Fabulous got picked out so absolutely, was that they've really got to make sure that they understand that Umart are a team that are seasoned. They know how to come back from games like this.
That's exactly right. We do have some more pushing down through mid. Blue buff being picked up there on Dizzy. And of course, Svex picking up some monster waves down bottom. BMA also going to pick up his own waves and put some pressure up there on the top tower. However, Dragon will come up soon. So perhaps we might see Avant Redemption start prepping for that one.
Yeah, and this Vayne getting free farm in the bot lane has to make you feel uneasy if you're a Umart fan right now, because that is very scary. Getting all that farm onto a Vayne, I mean, that Phantom Dance is going to come out soon, and then she's going to have all she needs, really, apart from that last Whisper, to really dominate a team.
Yeah, so it does look like Frenetic Array Umart have sniffed this one out, looking to pressure that top tower and take top tower. I would definitely say that a tower is worth a Dragon, 100%, especially with the pressure coming through, but they need to be careful that Avant Redemption could just go down mid lane, however they're looking to defend.
Yeah, that is very true. That being said, they are only equalizing the turrets. Of course, all outers have gone down for Avant Garde Redemption. It will bring the gold back, you know, and make up for that deficit brought by the Dragon. But still 3k in advantage of Avant Garde Redemption, so really well played. And as we said with those top laners, those Sunfire Caves both coming in. Of course, changing up on the boots, and we've got an extra rejuve bead there.
Wow, look at this, Max. Ubergiant's Bro being forced to go Bloodthirster tier into a last Whisper. Obviously, they're having way too much trouble dealing with Blaster, because Blaster has got monster amounts of farm, 220 creeps and 24, getting to closer to 25 minutes. It's very hard to deal with. He's got a Spirit Visage and a Sunfire Cape. And it just sucks to be forced into a last Whisper this early on Ezreal.
Oh, absolutely, especially when he can't finish that Manamune and get that tier stacking. I mean, as we said, you know, tier was nerfed, so the stacking time of that item is just incredibly slow if you don't have it proccing off those auto attacks that you do when you have a Manamune. So really, he's going to be slowly getting towards that blue Ezreal build, as we like to call it. And of course, that Iceborne Gauntlet hasn't even been started yet.
Yeah, Ezreal's potential really isn't going to be showing through at all anywhere soon. So it's really up to Dizzy to make up for that until Ubergiant's Bro can secure the income that he needs. And it's unfortunate that they're also not getting any Dragon control, which is where the money's going to start coming from, outside of the fact that farming's going to get you there, but farming's very, very risky in the sense that you're having to send one of your primary carries up to the side. Blaster.
Oh, Blaster getting caught. The Q misses out of Dizzy, but the dredge line does land, but Blaster's just too big right now.
Doesn't even care at the moment.
No.
He's just walking around the map without a care in the world and looking for a Warmogs as well. This guy's going to get ridiculous.
God. Untouchable. And if he builds possibly a Leandry's after that for some extra damage, he's going to do tons of damage and not take any. It's going to be disgusting, and I don't want to be facing that ever in my life. Even though he's on 0-0-0, he's just got so many items.
It's exactly what he needs. They need that front line to help protect that Vayne, because of course...
Oh, was that the red stolen there by Ezreal?
Most definitely not. We have Vayne with the red.
Has picked up the red bar. I got a little bit excited, you know, because the True Shot Barrage did come through. Blaster slingshotting in, landing on top of Ubergiant's where he gets the slowdown, but I can't see him possibly being able to follow up on this. That being said, Aqua Prison coming down, BMA was possibly looking to go there, so...
Something needs to be done soon though, Max, because JKS is pushing all the way up through that bottom tower, and he has to stand united to help out.
Yeah, that's true. They're really going to have to either answer that, and he's just going to back there, so that's just free creeps. And look, he's actually managed to claw his way back, even with Blaster on that creep score. With those extra 3 assists, he actually probably has more money. Apart from the double dragons, which is probably going to put it back into their favor.
Yeah, but this isn't... Oh, perhaps we might see a Baron.
Yeah, well, something has to happen, Dale, because honestly, it's just been farming for like the last 5 to 7 minutes.
Well, this is what Frenetic Array Umart want. They want Ezreal to have a little bit more time, a little bit more time to farm up his items, especially with Randuin's coming through on Shen. That's very, very crucial when dealing with someone like Vayne. But they want a couple more items. They're not comfortable with fighting just yet. So what they're doing is they're forcing Avant Redemption to play Frenetic's game.
Yeah,
which is using the split push potential from Shen, and of course the clear potential from Dizzy on that Xerath, just insta-clearing the waves through. So it's very, very hard to siege these guys, and it's very, very hard to deal with the fact that you've got to stop a split push. Now that's not too bad. About Redemption aren't sweating too much, because of course Svex is just going down there and farming on Vayne, and a farming Vayne's very, very scary. So they're not sweating too much when it comes to that, but it's definitely not Avant Redemption controlling the game just yet.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing we've got to note as well is this dagger pickup by Vayne. Do you think that she's possibly going to go for a static shiv, you know, maybe a Zephyr to avoid some of that CC?
Yeah, probably. Actually, I'd put it most definitely some more movement speed to help kite. Because you could argue
well, Zephyr
that
and static shiv have, I think, the same amount of movement speed, if not Zephyr having a little bit less.
here we are. We do have some power going, some pressure going through on that Baron. Let's see if Frenetic Array can answer.
Oh, the Paranoia coming in and the Tidal Wave as well. Aviator going in really, really deep. Light binding onto both tanks right now. And the tanks are just way too far in. The backline hasn't been here. That being said, Teal's taken down so low from the burst combo of Dizzy, but that's not the target he wants to go for. Teal's isn't going to be on that Let's Bounce coming in as well. Specs managing to pick up Ezreal in a 1v1, and Blaster is just a monster. Unable to be moved here, and Dizzy getting landed on, of course, there by the Elastic Slingshot, and Fabulous, whoa, managing to get stunned, but Blaster's just taking no damage at all, and that was a terrifying engage. 3 for 1 there after Avant Garde took damage from the Baron, and are they going to go back? I think Blaster could probably sustain through it.
Yeah, it's interesting that these guys didn't opt for the final spike, just missing Nautilus there. And it's interesting that they didn't opt to go straight for Baron again. I mean, JKS had to go to back to base, and BMA obviously isn't going to defend by himself, especially not in that HP. I guess the safer option is, of course, taking in mid tower, recalling up, and then probably just going to try and, same tactic, pressure the Baron, see how Frenetic Array Umart responds to that one again. But that was really, really rough. Both teams had their positions there in the team fight. At one point, I was like, Avant Redemption have got this. The other point, I was like, Frenetic Array
It
Umart have brought it back.
A little bit strange, but I do want to point out the fact that JKS and BMA were in there on their own, taking damage for way too long. There wasn't quick enough follow-up from the backline where the damage is from Umart to actually do the damage to Redemption's tanks to get them out of the fight. So,
well, the main thing that I spotted was that Nocturne flew straight into the backline of Frenetic Array Umart. Instead of retaliating, putting their own pressure back on Nocturne, stopping him from zoning an entire backline, they just pieced it. They all flashed. They got it straight out of there. And unfortunately, that just left BMA and JKS straight out to dry. The saving grace a little bit, and why I think probably a big reason why Frenetic Array Umart had a little bit of an easier time was Specs was focusing JKS, and JKS of course has a Warden's Mail. It's a little bit more difficult to take out than say BMA, who doesn't have something like that.
Yeah,
especially as well with Ninja Tabi, makes it very, very difficult. So I think if Avant Redemption had to focus down BMA first instead of JKS, I think that fight would have been a little bit more tilted in their favor. However, it was very close.
Yeah, and we've got another dragon here being picked up by Avant Garde Redemption now with a 1-turret lead and 3 dragons to 0, if I remember correctly. So they're looking really, really strong here with a 5.4k gold lead.
Yeah, most definitely. I expect them to push straight back down mid and do exactly what they did before and pressure that Baron. However, they might look for a pick on Shen since he is pushing out through bottom lane.
Yeah, and that is a really great way to deal with Shen. You know, you all group up on top of him. He can't exactly stand united one of his teammates in to help or anything like that. So that is a decent option. That being said, they would be a long way away from Baron, and they could get counter Barons pretty easily.
There we go. So they are scouting out for these wards. None through there. They will find this one here, though. They will clear that out, and that automatically means that Frenetic Array Umart have to do something.
Yeah, because we've got 5 strong going onto this Baron again. Shen does have his stand united available, can come in. And Final Spark getting put down half health off Dizzy and Little Uber Giant. And this is just Fabulous on his own, zoning out 4 people, which is absolutely ridiculous. Stand United coming in on top of BMA. The Paranoia comes down straight on top of Dizzy, keeping him out of this fight, and the Let's Bounce coming down on top. Fabulous getting taken down one-on-one pretty much by Uber Giant's bro, but Blaster is a monster. Managing to get on top of JKS, but the main fight seems to be going on in the backline here. JKS, nothing he can do against Blaster. He is so huge right now, and Specs now just coming in to play cleanup like a Vayne loves to do. Yeah, and Uber Giant's bro doesn't have the kiting potential that he needs.
Yeah, unfortunately doesn't have that Iceborne Gully. It doesn't have the cooldown reduction to jump around like most blue build Ezreals do, and that's unfortunate. Unfortunately, due to the fact that their picks just can't deal with a snowballed Zac. Zac got too many items way too quickly, and they just didn't have an answer for it immediately.
And of course as well, Lux managed to get out her Final Spark and get down the extra damage that she needed to before that fight even started. So it didn't even really matter that Fabulous went down pretty early on in that fight, due to the fact that she'd already put out the damage that she needed to.
Exactly right. Secured that damage down there through first. And of course, on some primary targets, Lulu, Giant, and Dizzy being chunked for half their HP with a single ability. But this Baron definitely going down. However, BMA is looking for a possible smite steal.
Yeah. That being said, gets condemned into the wall. Wow, he's come in really, really quick. Who actually got the Baron?
No, the Baron's still up.
Oh, it's gone.
Unfortunately, they're smart enough to stop the focus there through the worm.
I didn't see the Baron's health. I thought he'd gone down. I got really, really confused.
Yeah, the worm played hard and go seek there for a little bit, popped back out in the last second. But very, very smart to those guys who are over in that situation, because when it comes down to those points, no matter if it's 1-on-4 or 4-on-4, the smite still potential is still always going to be there, especially with someone like Nautilus who can swing straight in and go for it. What they did to counter that is they just immediately stopped the focus.
Yeah.
And the BMA said, but I can't smite it yet. And then they said, BMA,
well, we're just going to kill you.
Yeah, we're just going to kill you instead. Completely changed around the focus.
Shows amazing communication as well by Avant Garde Redemption, and something that you really see from these seasoned teams that have been together for so long.
Very, very smart. Unfortunately, BMA overstepped these boundaries for that smite steal a little bit too early. Didn't have the ward coverage to know exactly when to go in. Tried to estimate it. Unfortunate, and I gave the Avant Redemption what you could say probably a free kill.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you want to know something really exciting, Dale? I have a feeling that Blaster is building a Riley's Crystal Scepter. I am really excited.
That's going to be so cool.
Because now he slows off his W as well. You know, unstable matter, just blowing up all over the place, and he gets a slow out of it as well. So that's just infinite CC.
Frosty blobs everywhere, mate.
Frosty blobs, man. And he hasn't even gone into his passive yet, Dale. This is a big deal. They just cannot deal with the Zac at all.
Yeah, you know how we were talking about at the beginning, the Bloodthirst start from Ezreal. If he had gone a Blade of the Ruined King build, I think this could have been a little bit different.
That gives him a little bit of the cutting potential that he needs before that Iceborne Gauntlet that is so imperative to have. And he just still doesn't have any of the parts for it. He's going to get a little bit of farm down here in the bot lane, and he is still, you know, within Kui of Sphex' CS, but Sphex so many more items and does have that Last Whisper and the Zephyr.
Unfortunately, we saw Dizzy throw out some burst there, and Lord Fabulous didn't even feel it. And when you got the squishiest target on the team, barely feeling
with one item that gives you a pretty minimal amount of MR
feeling the burst, I start to worry a little bit. These guys obviously need to wait for this Baron buff to end. They cannot do anything before that time.
Absolutely. And it's a real danger. And we've got like all lanes pushing up here, and Sphex standing around a little bit longer than he perhaps needed to. In a little bit of danger, but no worries at all. That Baron is
Avant Redemption aren't going to rush it. They're not going to jump in under a tower when they don't need to. And fortunately for Fray Umart, Xerath has very high range, very high clear potential. So they do have the total potential they need, especially with the defense with all the immediate CC from Nautilus, Shen, and Sona from when they need it to defend in case Avant Redemption get a little bit overzealous. But
Final
they're going to have to
in
hunker
for
down.
a little bit no reason there in the mid lane. Giant's Bro managing to Arcane Shift over the Light Binding, forcing the flash out of Fabulous, and he's probably going to be able to finish this one up. So much damage coming out of Fabulous there. And the True Shot Barrage not quite hitting. Is he going to be able to blow him up? Oh. Wow, that was so close. That being said, now we've got a 4-strong team. Tidal Wave coming out here as well. Final Hour being popped by Sphex, and wow, the whole combo is coming out. Everything being used to try and get Sphex off that tower and off their champions because he's doing so much damage. Aviator finally managing to pick that up, and I don't know whether they're going to be able to do anything to stop Sphex from just smashing his way through. Paranoia comes down. He's tanking up 2 towers right now, Aviator. So huge. Blaster as well in there, just not really caring what's going on here at all. That inhibitor is definitely going to go down. Blaster going down really low, but he still has that passive. JKS now being the focus. Sphex probably not thinking that that's exactly the prime target. Till's being taken down really low as well. But that being said, Blaster, no fear at all. He'll tank up everything he wants, and he's gaining more health than he's losing. JKS condemned into the Nexus, and they are so deep right now. They have just absolutely no fear. They're getting really, really low, and with the regen from the Fountain, and Giant's Bro managing to put a little bit of damage down on one champion, I think, but I think that was Blaster, so
yeah, some
it's
nice
not
split.
a problem.
A nice split to dodge that True Shot Barrage, but they definitely overstayed their welcome. They were looking for the game. They were so close to picking up a couple of the kills that they needed to secure that Nexus, but it just didn't quite come up from some fantastic play by Fray Umart using that Fountain to their advantage. Because, I mean, if you got something that powerful there that instantly regens teams
absolutely,
and completely zones, you know, why not use it? And that's exactly what they did to secure the fact that this game isn't over just yet.
Yeah, that being said, I mean, Dale, was that a 4v5 as well, seeing as the fact that Fabulous went down?
You could argue that. However,
Well, it was 4v4 at the beginning due to the fact that
3v4.
Uber Giants Bro. Oh, was Uber Giants Bro and Dizzy weren't actually in the fight at the
That's
beginning?
exactly it.
Yeah, that's very true. So they got the extra damage down when it was only 3v4.
Yep, so all they had was a support and 2 tanks defending a tower, and that's why they steamrolled it straight through.
Yeah,
but what
really
they need to watch for now is they must have Dizzy when it comes to engage time, because Dizzy's the person who's going to be able to deal with Sphex the easiest. Because, of course, Nautilus is just going to throw down every single part of CC he could possibly do, straight on top of Sphex. And then it's up to Dizzy to finish that up, because Uber Giants Bro has way too much problems dealing with...
Can you click on Blaster for me?
Sure can.
Because he has 4 health items. Does he have 5k health yet?
He has...
Oh, Paranoid being popped here. Final Spark coming down, only hitting BMA. Tidal Wave coming through. The very end hitting to Dizzy, and Dizzy's going to get completely melted at this point. Little Uber Giants Bro getting hit by the Light Binding, managed to get the Arcane Shift out a little bit later than he would have liked. Then, wow, Sphex, so much damage. That Condemn coupled with the Blade of the Ruin King as well, just destroying Uber Giants Bro.
Yeah, the nails lined up on top of this coffin, Max, and the hammer's starting to come down.
Oh man, that's a 5-item Vayne looking to get the Guardian Angel that they definitely won't need, and I think that they'll be able to finish out the game probably before that even happens, even if Fabulous can't hit a skill shot there in the mid lane.
Light Binding missing there.
Oh, BMA's getting a little bit close. Aviator just tanking up this turret and has absolutely no fear at all. I think Blaster probably should have been a bro and taken that one for him, but Aviator's still not scared at all.
Blaster's the carry in this game.
Yeah, well, that's true. He is 4-0-4. Massive amounts of work. That being said, Smiley Face or Sphex is 10-1-5 on Vayne. That is not something that you ever want if you're not on the same team.
At this point, Fnatic or Umart need to stay basically tied to the hip. They can't afford to move away from each other. They have a bit of mobility through Ezreal, Sona, and Shen, of course. And you could argue that, of course, Xerath and Nautilus both have their own advantages when it comes to mobility, but they've got to stay together. There's just too much
and also with
potential.
three inhibitors down as well. I mean, this is the point where Free could say, look, the creeps are coming into the base really, really fast, and so you can just get farmed up. But I don't think that that's really the case at this point. I think it's pretty much all done and dusted. Sphex has picked up. He's now 6-item Vayne.
What I predict is going to come through is the Blob is just going to dive the Nexus.
Yeah, he is. And he's going to have absolutely no fear at all. I think the only way that he's going to die is if he actually dives the fountain. And here's just going to be a free Baron. There is absolutely no way that Umart Storm can do anything against this.
Look at this attack speed from Sphex. Kill.
Oh my god.
Nailing that Baron down.
It's really, really scary.
They don't even need their jungler to deal with that one. Of course, it is 40 minutes in. The 40-minute Vayne is scary as it is, but there was absolutely no contention.
Blaster took no damage from Baron as well. So
he's really at that stage, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's about to build that Zhonya's Hourglass as well. He's got that oh wow, and little Uber Giants Bro being picked up here by Aviator. The fear does go off after the Arcane Shift over the wall, and the Light Binding. Wow, Fabulous is so good with those Light Bindings. Absolutely amazing. Loosen Singularity for the site, and then Light Binding predicting the juke after that Arcane Shift was on cooldown. It's just ridiculous.
I think this might be it, Max.
This is definitely going to be game. We got a 2-man crescendo, but it's not going to be enough. Fabulous does get destroyed there by Dizzy, but the tidal wave coming through. JKS getting melted by Sphex, and I just don't think Sphex can be hurt at this point. BMA now the target, but I think this Nexus is just going to fall. There is no way that Uber Giant and BMA are going to be able to get out of here, and that's a 3-shot Nexus by Vayne.
There we are.
Really, really calculated play by Redemption, and that was about an 18k gold deficit at the end of that game, Dale, and I wouldn't have picked that from the very beginning. You know, we know that Umart Storm are a really strong team. Yeah,
definitely. Avant Garde Redemption.
Whoa,
more
you got it in the end.
Avant Garde Redemption taking out Fnatic or Umart there right near the end. That was a 41-minute game, so it definitely wasn't a quick. It was very
one-sided towards the end.
It was very, very one-sided near that end, especially they had the early laning phase with the snowball potential from the Nami Vayne. Of course, we said at the beginning that once they get ahead, you can't get away.
That is very, very true, and they did get ahead really, really early with that kill onto Sona, so that definitely propelled them in the direction that they wanted. I just want to note that Fabulous's skill shots on that Lux were amazing that game.
It was very well done, of course. Lux is someone, if you don't learn the binding, it's very hard to learn anything else.
Oh, it's like Brand, you know? Like, you get into a team fight at the end of the game, there is a potential that you will do absolutely nothing.
Yeah, most definitely. But it did come through in the end. Guys took it very well deserved. 41-minute game.
Yeah, absolutely.
9-23. Score is quite skewed.
It's quite skewed, but it didn't feel exactly that bad throughout the entirety of the game until we got to that end stage. You know, when that first inhibitor went down, it was pretty much nails in the coffin.
That's definitely it. But anyway, guys, we have Avant Garde Redemption beating Fnatic Ray Umart over here at ACL Melbourne. We'll be right back soon.
Yeah, we're going to take a time out, and we'll see you guys very soon with the stream up next. Please stay tuned.